In EPPING. My name is Robert Ozzimo and I proudly represent the company of Harcourts, Rata and Co. I'm joined here today by the best team in the north, the award-winning team in blue. Should you require their advice, please feel free to approach either Harry, Michael Cananzi, Michael Carafa, Andrew DeSanto, Alex and of course George and Christina Ioannou, who no doubt you've had the great pleasure of becoming acquainted with throughout the marketing campaign. Buyers, let me share with you now the following announcements which are in place to help you bid and buy with absolute confidence here today. The auction will be conducted in accordance with the rules and any additional conditions that are made available for inspection before the start of the auction. The auction rules prohibit an auctioneer from accepting bids or offers for a property after the property has been knocked down to the successful bidder. The vendors have a reserve price as the auctioneer. I'll indicate bidders on request. The law prohibits false bids, prohibits major disruptions by bidders and prohibits bidders attempting to prevent others from bidding and provides for fines for such conduct. The rules permit for vendor bids, the words I'll use during the auction to indicate that I'm making a bid on behalf of the vendor are vendor bid, and by law only I, as the auctioneer, can make a vendor bid. The contract of sale has been on display prior to today's auction. We call for 10% deposit upon the fall of the hammer and the signing of that contract to take place here today, with the balance to be paid at settlement in 30 to 60 days time, at which time the vendor will provide the lucky buyer with vacant possession of the property. All in all, it's quite a straightforward document. Everything's in there, everything is quite clear. So buyers, is with my highest recommendation what we offer for your consideration and competition here today. What a picturesque location here opposite Parkland. A great place to invest, a great place to raise a family and a great home to do that with. 4 bedrooms in total, massive floor plan offering enormous open plan living, reaching out to that massive backyard, a huge block of about 617 square metres here in the corner. Absolutely almost impossible to find, almost impossible to replace, but you've got that opportunity today to secure you and your family's future, to get the salt sticker up on the board. If you'd like to do just that, buyers, right now is the time to reserve that right. Where can I see a fair and reasonable starting bid for 46 Broadleaf? At 700,000, fairly been off now at 7. You seem shocked, sir. At 700,000, at 700. I think that'd be a good buy between you and I. At 700,000 now, even money now at 7. At 720 now, at 720,000, same courtesy at 20 if you like. At 720 I have. At 720,000. At 30, I'll short of my stride and get you involved and wish you the best of luck here today. And the same courtesy at 10 if you like. At 40 here. At 40 behind, sorry, wrong Michael. At 740,000, welcome. At 740 now. At 750,000, 750 the bid. At 750,000, fairly been offered for 5 in it now. At 750 the bid. At 750,000. I will take a 5, and I'll tell you why, man, because we are on the market and selling here today. So I'll take the 5 and put the keys in your pocket, maybe momentarily, maybe for good. Time will tell. At 755, and the same courtesy to every other buyer here today. At 60 now, it was momentarily, man. At 760, but you can wrestle them back. At 760,000. At 760,000, we are on the market, we sell. We are playing for keeps here today. So if you have come to buy, 65 now at 765, and welcome back at 65. If you've come to buy, you have to dig deep right now. You need to show me now, because we are selling at 765 the bid. At 70 now. At 770,000, 75 if you like. 80's better. At 770,000 the bid's there. At 770. At 770,000 fairly been offered now. At 770 the bid. At 770,000 fairly been offered. At 775 now. 7 3/4. At 775,000 now. At 777 and a half. 777 and a half. At 777,500 now. And 80 beckons surely. At 777,500 fairly been offered now. 777.5 once. At 777 and a half, all done. At 80 now. 780, much easier for me to say. At 782 and a half. At 782 and a half, better than 777. At 782 and a half now. At 782,500 the bid. At 782.5, make it another 2.5 in the rise. At 85 if you like. And 85 got now. At 785, are we done here? Thank you very much for being here today. 785,000. At 2.5, at 787 and a half. At 787,500 now. How about 90? Or let's be bold, take me at 800. At 787,500, bids there, opportunity with you. Out here at 787,500. How about over here? We definitely done over here. 787 and a half, going to get you back in for 90. At 788 I have behind, at 788 the bid. I'll give you a moment to think, sir, but once it's sold, it's gone at 788, at 9 now, 789. At 789,000, straight back at you, sir, 789. Small bids are very easy for the competition to counter. Big bids, a statement bid shows the competition here to buy. At 789,000, the bid's there. If you want to buy, you got to bid big. At 789 the bid. At 789,000 and the bid's there, 789. At $789,000 the bid. Once! At 790 now, 790. At 791, the quick retort at 91. At 791,000, maybe it's the first to 800 wins. At 791 the bid. At 791,000, the bid's there, the keys are there, the opportunity here. At 791,000, fairly been offered at 791 the bid. At 791 once. At 791 all done. Second call at 791 the bid. Done. Finished. At 2 at 792. 3 at 793, at 793,000, at 793, and the bid's back here now at 793. How about 95? At $793,000 the bid now. If you're here to buy, this is your moment, this is your time. Got to be decisive, got to dig deep. 793 the bid. We sell here today at 793,000. No second chances here today. No late bids. Once the hammer falls, the property is sold. Gone is gone, sold is sold. 793 the bid. Once at 793. Are we done? Twice at 793. Are we done? 94. At 94. Had a moment to think about it and back in. Welcome, sir. Welcome back. At 794. At 794 and 95. At 795 the bid now. At 795,000. At 96 and welcome back again at 96. At 796 the bid. At 796,000. How about 800, ma'am? Might be a knockout bid. First 8 might win. It's mental barrier for the competition. At 796,000. Well, we're almost there. It's not that big a leap. At 796,000, at 97 now, 797. At 797,000, 800 still beckons at 797 the bid. Bid here, opportunity everywhere else in the crowd at 797,000. Once, at 797 twice. Third, final call, $797,000 the bid. Are we done? We finished at 98 now. Make it 800, come on, for old time's sake. At 798,000, the bid's there. At 800,000, and we got there in the end, even money at 8. We'll find out if that was the mental barrier in just a moment. At 800,000. Now, she might think it's your mental barrier. Let's show her it's not, sir. Man, give us 801. At 800,000, the bid's there. Against you, definitely done. Might have been the right strategy there. At 800,000, even money now. We're on the market. We're selling. We're playing for keeps. At $800,000. Once at $800,000. Are we all done? Twice at 801, at 801,000 it wasn't to be. Maybe 802 is the mental barrier, who knows? Doesn't have to be a round number all the time. At 801,000, the bid's there, back against you at 801 now. At 801,000 now, opportunity with you at 802 and a half. At 500. 802,500, is that right, ma'am? At 802 and a half. At 802,500 now. At 802 and a half, and the bid's back here. At 802 and a half, fairly been offered now. At 802 and a half, keys back in your pocket. At 802,500 now. We sell here today. 802 and a half. You must let me know if you've come to buy. We're about to sell at 802,500. We done there, Michael? Definitely done. At 802,000, you definitely out, sir. Thank you very much for your interest here today. At 802,000 and a half, we're definitely done here. Thank you again. At 802 and a half now, only one to beat. Once at 802 and a half, all done. Twice. 803 and a half. 803 and a half now. At 803,500. At 803,500, Harry, just to let you know if there's any interest there, I can't take any late bids. At 803 and a half, and the bid's there. At 803,500 high. At 803 and a half. 15,805 at 805. At 805,000, thank you. At 805 now. At 805,000, barely been offered now. 805 the bid. At 805,000, bids there, keys there. Has she done enough? At 805 the bid. Once at 805,000. Are we done now? Twice at 805. Are we definitely done and definitely finished? Third, final call, 805,000. Ma'am, sir, are we done? Are we finished? Are we silent and out at 805,000? Need to know right now at 805, at 806, at 806,000, at 806, and the bid's back there at 806, at 800. You hate me walking back over asking you for more money, don't you? I'm sorry. At 806,000, maybe a big bid will stop that from happening and I'll walk over and give you the keys. At 806,000, the bid's there. 806, why don't we try 10? At 806,000, fairly been offered now. At 806, at 806,000, fairly been offered. 806 the bid once. At 806,000, twice. Third, final call, $806,000 the bid. Are we done? Finished? At 807.5, at 807,500. How about round me off to 10? 807.5 now. At 807,500 the bid. At 807.5, fairly been offered now. At 807,500. Bids there, keys are there. Opportunity still here, but we sell here today. 807.5 once. At 807,500 twice. 808. Down to $500 bids, ma'am, at 808,000. At 808,000, the bid's there, 808. At 808,000, can I try 10 in the rise? At 808,000, the bid's there, it's another 2 on top. At 808,000, fairly been offered, 808 plus 2, make it 10. At 808,000 and a half, at 808 and a half. At 808,500, fairly been offered now, 805 and 808 and a half. 808,500 the bid. What are we thinking? 810 maybe? Say 810, 808,500 bid there, 809, at 809,000, 810, and we got there in the end at 810,000 now. Straight back at you, pressured straight back on you, ball back in your court, 810 the bid. At 810,000, the bid's there, the keys are there, we sell, 810. If you come to buy, bid big, 810,000, the bid's there, keys are there, we sell once at 810,000. Done? Twice at 810 the bid, done, finished. Third, final call at 810, all done, finished, silent out, 810,000.
Give up.
You give up?
Yeah, give up.
Never give up, ma'am, at 810,000. Are we absolutely sure? We're done here, we're done over there, no bids there, 810,000. Are we all in the greens here? We're all out at 810,000. At 810,000. I thought it was you. You came out with a bang ad at 810,000 at the start. At 810, the bids there, keys are there. Are you all happy? Do I have a consensus here? Happy to sell over there? I have your best? Definitely done? Yeah, done. Thank you very much for your bidding here today. We hope to see you very soon in the future at 810,000. Bids here, keys are here. We're selling. First call at 810, all done. Second call at 810,000, done and finished. Third, final call, 810 the bid, done, finished. Silent out at 810, we're definitely done. We are selling, selling, selling. Sold, congratulations and well bid. Please join me in welcoming our new owners and congratulating our vendors here today. You've just witnessed another successful Harcourts Rata & Co auction. Have a great weekend, enjoy the sunshine. See you again soon, thank you. Thank you guys, thank you. Thank you.
How do I get
Congratulations,
this job?
well,
I want to
well
do
done.
this.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
I wish I had more money to go buy more houses. That's so fun.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it because usually it's a stressful process. So if you enjoy